Nothing much. How we doing, brother?
Doing pretty good. It looks like I'm getting audio from you too. That's cool. Awesome. Yeah, we're streaming
Cool.
right now, man. Streams live.
Nice, nice, good stuff.
Yeah,
We're
what's
live in action.
it looks like the program feed's got me on one and you on the other, so that's working.
Cool.
So how you been, man?
Doing good, doing good. I was just looking up to see, does the stream like live? Oh yeah, here it is. Okay, cool. I just wanted to look it up and see for myself. I see it. We're live on
Yeah.
YouTube. That's
Yeah, so
whoa,
obviously
just
this
clicked
is
on
the
it and
first
it
time doing
echoed.
it this way. Like there'll be a few like when we do it tomorrow, I'll do like a little intro period with some music and we'll roll into it. But yeah, I
Cool.
so remember we're wondering how to get the audio to work from Zoom. It was really
Yep.
just when we were testing it last week. I must have had uh, so technically your camera 4 right now on the ATEM. I must have had the audio from camera 4 mute. There's a bunch of
Okay.
buttons on the machine, and I just didn't know what the heck they were doing. So yeah, so I can
Good
see
stuff.
on the monitor here that shows all the different, the different cameras and the preview in the program. I can see camera 4 when you talk, I'm getting audio, and then um yeah. So
Cool.
yep. So how you
Nice.
been?
Well,
It's
good
been a
stuff.
while.
Yeah, yeah, all is good. Actually back home in Virginia Beach right now, visiting my family. I hadn't been back since Thanksgiving, so that's looks a little different here, up in my family's house here. So it's been really great. Been here since Thursday and will be till upcoming Saturday. So here for a little over a week. So been really nice doing that. And then yeah, other than that, just chugging along, business as usual, podcasts, testimonials have been going well, just new shows, new brand videos. So just been yeah, hitting on all cylinders. Sales is starting to ramp up a little more as we're kind of ending summer. As you probably know, fall, winter, a little better of a sales season for at least, what we do here. But yeah, man, all's been good. How about yourself?
A little bit of the same. We've been wrestling with the office air issue. We finally got that resolved. So it's nice and cool
Okay.
in here
Yep.
now. The place is a mess though because the whole other section outside of where our offices are is it's being all remodeled. So the floors, the ceilings, the walls are all tore up. There's like construction guys everywhere, and
Yep.
so it's kind of a mess. Like a lot of the space that we had outside of where our actual office units are, we had a whole lobby area and a kitchen, and that was
Okay.
all. We were the only ones in. Now that's all tore up, so we don't have a kitchen. All the stuff we had out in the lobby area for like places for people to sit before they come into our office, or
Hmm.
arcades for the staff to use on break. It's all in our conference room, so we don't have any. We don't even have a conference room. So it's been kind of
Yep.
weird. We've had to pause some and change a little bit of the way we do some of our stuff. It's our local sales stuff. We'd bring people in, for meetings
Yep.
and things like that. We can't do that right now. So that's a little bit of a bummer. Just found out today we might be pushing back our moving timeline until around late October, early November because their remodeling timeline has changed. So we've got we were kind of like, we didn't want to put a whole lot of time into like rebuilding our whole office space to make it work. We were just like, let's just deal with it for now. For the last month and a half, 2 months, no one's really been in the office because the air hasn't been working. But
Right.
now that's working, and we've got all this stuff everywhere. So we've got to. I told Manny today. I said we need to sit down with Jamie and some of the staff and say, okay, we got to figure out how to get the space top notch and usable again because we're gonna have to function for another 2 or 3 months like it's our normal office.
Right. Well, good
That's been
stuff.
a little bit of a
Well, glad.
challenge, but
Yeah. Well, glad the AC's at least working. That's no fun in the summer. I know for
oh,
sure.
dude, it was crazy.
Yeah.
There was one day I came in and I had to be in to do a couple things from my office because I couldn't do them at home, and it was 100 to 110 degrees in the office,
Yeah.
and it's
It's pretty
maybe
crazy.
80 something outside, but it's a big brick building that just it turns it into an oven.
Yep. Yep.
And we can send everybody home, but we have servers and we have things that have to be running for our staff in India to VPN into in order to do what they need to do for our clients. And some of that stuff where we were getting alerts that they were overheating.
Okay.
So yeah, so it worked out. Our building owners and stuff, they're good people. They got a hold of HVAC people and they brought in some units that like vented air out this. It was really just pushing air into the ceiling, and then that air was coming back down somewhere else and keeping things hot. But it was just these big mobile air units that I could turn and blow air into my office. So instead of 100 degrees, it was like 85.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
so
Well, good
yeah,
stuff.
that's things like that happen in business. So just
Nice.
deal with it.
Yep. Yep.
Um, so yeah, we haven't recorded in, gosh, a month or so, right? It's been a
Yeah.
while.
Just
At,
about, yeah, just about a month, I
at
think.
first it was like, oh, it's gonna be about a week, and then a week turned into
Yep.
two, and two, like,
Yep.
these, not to harp on this whole situation, but this is a old. It's not that old, but it's like a building, 40-year-old building, and the HVAC units, they're not just like an AC in your house or like a window
Right.
unit. These things are like huge things that are built onto the ground, that you usually see like on top of a big building or something. But there's like two or three units, and they just died.
Yep.
And so but the air pumps were still working. So hot air was being blown, and they couldn't turn those off. It was just constantly circulating hot air. Like you could
Yeah.
feel air coming out the vents. It was just hot air.
Yep. Yep.
So you were literally like you're in an oven, like a convection oven, like you're in an air fryer.
Hmm.
Um, but so
Yeah.
all the parts are coming. The parts came. They started working on them. They have to flush all the refrigerant out of the whole system, which took over a day, and they had to fill it back up again. So they get it working. It's only working at 50%, but it feels nice. And then the day after they get it working on this side of the building, there's a whole bigger side of the north side of the building is bigger, and it's kind of cut off from this side, has its own HVAC stuff. The day it starts working here, it stops working over there. So
Hmm.
I don't know what they're
Yeah.
doing over there. Maybe they got it working, but it was interesting.
Nice.
Yeah, when the building was bought, the new owners thought they had a couple of years. They're about $100,000 a piece to replace the units. And they were going
Okay.
to try to do them. They have 5 total units. They're going to try to replace one a year. And they have to do them all this year.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty crazy.
Not fun.
Not
Oh yeah.
ideal, but get yeah, what like you said, happens in business sometimes.
Yep. So, what's new on your front? You started any new shows? Got any new things that you can talk about, or?
Nothing really too much. We've been working a lot lately with kind of, fractional sales, fractional CROs, CEOs, kind of doing a lot of LinkedIn algorithm and then testimonials for them. So, doing a lot of, kind of business development for these consultants and things like that. So that's really what we've been focused on. Also been focused on kind of the poker podcast that we've done as well. Haven't released an episode in like 2 months for that. So, been recording a lot for that because our last episode we did for that performed really well. Really seems like the poker world is pretty cool. Might even be going down to Vegas at some point to go check out this really cool thing called the Celebrity Poker Tour and maybe film some content there. So, trying to get back into, beginning of this year was busy, but get back into maybe building a little more of the Pivot brand. But as far as client work and things like that goes, really been focusing in on those, fractional consultants because, they, with what they do, their business development side, videos, all that good stuff is really beneficial for them.
So tell me about that. So you're working with consultants that kind of need, is it like kind of profile based content that they need that you guys are helping them create, and then
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like a few things like, one is, creating LinkedIn content for them. So, videos and, maybe posts, articles, graphics, all that good stuff. So they're doing that. Second thing would be, LinkedIn outreach. So, just tagging them, targeting, their ideal clients and just messaging them, getting in front of
okay,
them and all that good stuff. So that essentially when they get in that, initial call, that initial, trying to find out what they might need, they already feel like they know that consultant because kind of, they've seen, like if you get in a meeting with someone that watches the podcast, they already feel like they know you a little bit. They know your voice, know what you look like, know what you're about. And so that's kind of what we're starting to harp with, these consultants and things of that nature. And the main reason we've targeted them is because a lot of these fractional CROs, fractional consultants are coming from, sometimes, 30, 40 years experience of Fortune 100, Fortune 500. So they've got a lot of good stuff to share. And so, helping them is realizing they have so much, educational benefit that they can share. They're just not really sure how to do it. And so we're kind of helping them from a strategic standpoint, how do I do it? Is it messaging people? Is it coming out with a daily, video? Is it coming out with a daily graphic? And so that's kind of, what we're doing and why we've started working with them a lot.
Yeah, that makes sense. One of the things that over the past, I think it's probably been close to a month now that I've been focusing. My goal is to at least spend a third of my time doing it because we've dropped some money into it and haven't seen any results in it over the last 2 years. Is learning and understanding how to get government contracts.
Right.
So a couple of years ago, we paid a company to kind of get us on what's called sam.gov, which is so we're a registered business. So we have a UEI number and we have a code that tells government agencies that we're approved to work with, right? But just being there doesn't get you any contracts. It's like learning a whole nother language and culture. It's not like doing business with small businesses or enterprises because it's not like you just put your name out there or you solicit in a way where you call them up and say, hey, do you have a need? Let's do business, whatever. Well, it's, government agencies have budgets and then they put out an RFP and then there's different types of those that say how much they can award and whether it has to be decided on minimal price wins the deal or price plus value wins the deal. There's all kinds of things. And it's, unless you can't just like stick your toe in and be like, hey, I'm going to put on my website that I do government contract. I'm going to get on SAM and then sooner or later we'll win one. No, it's like you got to be watching like a hawk, like what's been submitted, because every day like all these things come out there's hundreds and hundreds of different codes that correspond to a different type of service that someone needs, right? Like IT services has an NAICS code, and then there's another type of code that's kind of IT but not, and then there's a code for professional services, there's a code for financial accounting services, and that's kind of where our RCM stuff falls. So there's all this kind of stuff. And then so you look for, okay, there's, I get an email. I got signed up for this list. So I get an email every day that sends me an email for all the contracts that were, or updates to current available contracts that are looking for bids that fit your codes, right? So, the other day one came and there was like 20 of them on this list. Some of them were just like amendments to the request that's already out there. Hey, we're extending the deadline, blah, blah, blah. But they're just links. You can't really tell what they're for. So you just got to click every stinking link to go in and look at them, right? And then when you're looking at them, you still can't tell because there's a bunch of gobbledygook. There's like numbers, and you go in and there might be 10 more links for the whole request. And okay, which one actually tells me what this is about? And when you find that one, now it's a 100-page document.
Yeah.
That still doesn't say, like, it doesn't anywhere clearly at the top say we are looking for this type of IT or this type of service. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
it's so weird. So what I've gone to do is, like, yesterday I found one that was under the IT services code. So I'm like, okay, this one might fit. So you click on that and it takes you to the page and there's like 10 documents there. And some of them are PDFs, some of them are Word documents. And most of the time when it's a PDF, it's just a scanned image. So it's, unless you look at it, you can't like have it be read unless you have like an OCR piece of software. So, but anyway, I download all these 10 documents. Most of them were Word documents. I fed them into ChatGPT and I said, just look at these, tell me what they're saying. This is just an amendment update. Oh, this changes the date from June 15th to July 15th. Oh, this one changed the date from July 15th to August. Now it's at September, right? And all these documents come in, and at the end, basically the earliest document was like this 100-page document about the whole deal. And I said, summarize this deal. Tell me what I need to do to win the RFP. And that took me, even doing that and having AI help me, it still took me close to an hour,
Yeah.
So I'm like, boiled it down to the 5 things I need to be able to, basically came down to as a staffing position for one staff person to do network kind of administration at a VA office in Florida. And that person has to have a certain level of clearance and blah, 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 blah. So I was like, okay, so it has to be, it's only for one on-site person. All this work was put into finding one. You couldn't just hire, you know what I mean? And like, you wonder, like when we were talking about Doge a long time ago, like why does it cost so much money for governments to do work? I
Right.
guarantee all that stuff that I had AI go through, they paid probably 10 different people to manage, update, maintain, and write. And that probably took 6 months. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So all
Yep.
this, I'm like, because I'm like, is this just, so I asked GPT, I was like, how many staff members is this for one staff member, or is this for multiple over different VA locations in Florida? Nope, this is just for one person for one thing, and they got to have level 2 clearance, and they've got to have these blah blah blah. I'm like, well, this is one that doesn't make sense for us to pursue. But
Yeah.
if I wouldn't have gone in, and I would have never have known,
Right.
So
Exactly. Would have
what I'm
wasted even
learning,
more time trying to go through it.
yeah, it takes a lot of time, energy, and effort to find the right one. But over the last month, so there's an organization here in Wisconsin called WPI. It stands for Wisconsin Procurement Institute. And it's a nonprofit that's funded entirely by the Department of Defense. And
Okay.
their job is to help small businesses like us, learn or get set up to learn and secure government contracts. They can't like do it for us, right? They can't I can't just say, hey, go find me the contract and go win it for us. That would be ideal. So I can run
Yeah.
my business and be profitable while you find me a contract. That would be
Yeah.
that would be but no, because like I don't have anybody else here that can do this. It's me. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to spend a third of my time every week. And I haven't quite built up to a third like consistently, but every day I check on it a little bit. But like 3 weeks ago, I went to a meeting that was at an Army base here in Wisconsin called Fort McCoy. So I'm like, I'm going to start going to as many of these meetings and attending webinars and just immersing myself as much as possible. So I got a room. It was like a 3.5, 4 hour drive to the city right next to where the fort is. So I got a room at the hotel there, stayed overnight, went on to base, didn't have the right ID to get on base. So I
Yeah.
needed an escort to get me on base. That was funny. You need something called a real ID for your.
Oh, yep.
Have you heard of these? Like you need them to
Oh,
travel now too, I guess. They
yep.
have like a
Yep. You
star
got you
on
got to
them.
have the star in the upper right hand corner. Yep.
Yep. So apparently this has been a thing for a couple of years, but they just started enforcing it this year.
Okay.
So
Yep.
I get an email after, like, first I got an email the day before the event. I wasn't even sure if I was going because I hadn't got approved. Get an email the day before, you're approved. So I tell my wife you're going. She's like, what? Why didn't you tell me? I know I was gonna go. So you're
Yeah.
approved. I'm gonna go, hun. And I'm reading the email. Make sure you bring your real ID, your real driver's license. I'm like,
Yeah.
check my yep, it's not expired. It's real. It's here.
Right.
It's good.
Yep.
I didn't know anything about that. It was a different kind.
Yep. Right.
I'm good to go. So
Yep.
I get there and I check in, and the lady's like, go talk to the guy behind the glass window. And I go over to him, and he's like, you got your ID? I pull it out. I didn't even have time to show it. He could already tell it wasn't the right one. He's like, sir, that's not going to work. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, did you get the email that you need to bring your real ID? I'm like, this is real. Look.
Yeah. Yep.
He's
Yeah.
like, no, you don't
Yep.
understand. Is there a star on it? I'm like, no. He's like, then it's not a real ID. He's like, look at the sign. I'm like, oh, this is stupid.
Yep.
So I'm like, what do I do? He's like, well, if you can find an escort from the base, someone to come and get you and bring you to where you got to go, you're good to go. And I turn
Okay.
around to the lady. She's like from the organizing agency. I'm like, what do I do? She's like, don't worry. We got a guy. We figured this
Yeah.
out. And I was early. I was super nervous because I didn't want to be there late. And, so I got up and got to the base. It was like a 20-minute drive from where I was. So I was like 45 minutes early.
Right.
And I still got my escort. The guy, he was really nice. He was a funny guy. He brought me in. He works on base. And I was still one of the first 1 or 2 people there, but I was worried that I was going to have to like turn around.
Right.
I wasted
Yep.
all that time and money. So if you're going to learn something, get your real ID.
Yep.
Or
Yep. You got to
I would've
do.
brought my
It'll make it a
passport.
long
That
time
would've
for
been fine,
TSA too if you try to fly. I
yeah,
heard.
and I didn't realize it had gotten that
Yeah.
strict. So I looked at the website. It's kind of a pain to get your real ID, but I'm going to do that. Or if you have your passport with you, that'll suffice too. But who wants to carry their passport around everywhere? You know what I mean? So I went to that meeting, learned a ton, took a bunch of notes. I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize all this was, this is how things work. Met a few people. And since then I've gone to 2 more meetings where I've drove like an hour and a half to get to the meeting, because most of these meetings happen where there's the most people, and the most people in Wisconsin
Yep.
don't live and work in Sheboygan, Lakeshore, Manitowoc area. So gone to a couple of those meetings, and a lot of it's getting to know this WPI staff. They know you're taking it seriously, so it feels like they're starting to reinvest more time into me, that I'm not just going to waste their time. So that's
Right.
good. Right now, I've got the team back in India. Manoj, who was helping with production stuff. His main goal is web development, so he's working on a government site. I've been working on a capability statement, and I'm gonna order new business cards, because your normal business card isn't built to do business with the government. Like, my business
Yep.
card says the name of the company, says my name, my contact information, and you can tell by the logos and the names what we do, right? But what a
Yep.
government person wants to see, they want to see your UEI number, they want to see your cage code, and they want to see the NAICS codes that you are approved for. And if that doesn't on there, they're not even going to keep it. You can give it to them, they're not going to do anything with it. I'm like, well, holy
Right.
crap.
Yep.
I didn't know any of this stuff. So I'm getting some new business cards made, putting
Nice.
every meeting on my schedule. Apparently, a key to it is this WPI organization, they arrange special little conferences and meetings called buyer meetings, where they'll have government agency procurement people, or prime contractors, the buyers, the people that. So there's this whole issue with big contract, multi-million-dollar contract, typically gets won by a big organization called a prime. So this is all things you don't know, right?
Yeah.
Things I've been doing since I haven't been recording the show.
Yep.
Right? So it's a prime. So the primes win the contracts. They become the primes. Typically, the primes don't even do what they win the contract for. The primes win the contract, and then they subcontract all the work out to smaller businesses or other businesses that are built to do that work, right? So, and then they take a small percentage of the cut of the deal. It's like the primes are kind of like it's like a finder's fee and a securities fee for getting the contract. So 2 weeks ago, I had a meeting with the person in charge of procurement for the Department of Transportation.
Okay.
WIDOT. Super nice lady. Her name's Elizabeth Garland. She's probably never going to watch our podcast, but of all the people I've met so far digging into this, she's been the coolest person, been the most willing to help, been the most relatable, like super funny, not someone like stereotypically you would. And maybe we just get a bad rap if you work in government for a long time, but she's been working in government for 17, 20 years. She's super awesome. Anyway, so if you're watching, Elizabeth, you're cool. But anyway, so I met with her on Zoom, and she's telling me all kinds of great things, these websites that you don't even need to register for, that kind of tell you where all the Wisconsin contracts are and all that kind of stuff. So she's sharing her screen, showing me, here's how you get to see who the prime contract holders is for IT services in Wisconsin. She said the way IT services work for the state of Wisconsin is they contract with one company, and that company's objective is to take care of all the work. So they've got one deal for a vendor for IT services. They're not even from Wisconsin. They're from Indiana. And they subcontract the work out to all kinds of different companies like us, maybe in Wisconsin, maybe not in Wisconsin. And they have that deal until the end of 2027. So she said, what you have to do is, if you're probably not in a place to be a prime, you have to, connect up with the prime people, get subcontractor deals with them, learn the lay of the land, and eventually maybe work your way up the contracting ladder to be a prime someday. And I was like, man, this is not in the marketing presentation where it says people are trying to get you to, get interested in government work. Because what happens is what happened to us. Some company got a hold of us and said, hey, are you interested in government contracting? There's a ton of work in what you do all over the state. You could make millions. And so I'm like, show me. So you get on a call with them. They shoot, boom, 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 boom. I'm like, dollar signs, dollar signs, dollar signs. But they don't tell you any, and they'll say, pay us 7, 8, 9, 10 grand, and we'll get you on the schedule. You'll show up in SAM. We'll do all this work so you can take these contracts on, and we'll even show you how to find them and just go win them. And it seems so easy, but it's not. And
Yep.
they also, to anybody watching, there's money to be made in government contract. I'm not saying there's not. I'm just an idiot that it's taking a while. If this was all I could do all day long, I'd figure it out faster. But there's definitely money to be made in it. But don't go and pay anybody to do it. Every state has these Apex, they're called Apex, not organization, Apex something, that Department of Defense pays to work with businesses like us for free, like WPI is working with me right now. So don't go out and pay somebody to do this stuff for you. Find your local Apex Accelerator. That's what it's called, Apex Accelerator, and connect up with them. They'll get you. They'll show you how to get on SAM. They'll show you how to even get on GSA, which is Government Schedule Administration or something like that, where you don't even have to bid on contracts. That's a little harder to get. They'll help you set up, teach you how to do your capability step at your website. It's going to take work. Make sure you have the time to do it, but don't go pay someone a bunch of money to do it because you're just wasting your money. So take it from me. I wasted the money already.
Yep.
That's what I've been doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds interesting. Are the government jobs pretty competitively paid for like what they're offering?
I don't know yet, honestly. Like I can go in and see, like it's all public information. You can find out what contracts have been given and what the value is. And yeah, there's a lot of money to be made if you can get either be a prime or be a subbed with a prime. The trick is, and I'm learning all this stuff too. They don't teach you this kind of stuff when you want to get into it, because they just want, these other companies like we work with, they just want, they'll do what they say. They get you set up and they just tell you go make the money. It's not that easy. But yeah, another thing is you got to have let's say you subcontract with a prime that has a big deal for IT services, right? Or let's just say it's something else. Let's say it's groundskeeping for, a government agency like the VA or the Army or whatever, right? You're going to go in and cut their grass or whatever. If you're subbing for a prime, you have to have a Loctite agreement with the prime, because you can't, if you do all the work and the prime doesn't pay you, you can't go to the government and look for your money from the government agency because they have a deal with the prime. There are a few rules in place to where I think you can recoup some of it, but not very much. And there's things called bonding for like construction type work. That's what it is. So if like I'm a construction company and there's a big deal that a prime gets for building a new building on an army base, like a $10 million deal or something. I think my computer just died. All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
We're back.
All right. I can't see you though.
Oh, I got to turn the video on. I can see you just fine.
All right, cool.
I'm selfish like that. So yeah, completely didn't plug the computer in. And I was probably at like 20% when I put it on the desk. Dummy.
Sounds good. No, happens to the best of us. Yeah. You never know.
But yeah, what was I talking about? Government stuff. So I can't remember where I was exactly, but it's a lot of work. There's money to be made. But you got to be able to put the time and energy and effort into it. And one of the things I've learned, I think is smart, because a lot of the people that are in these meetings with me are in a place where I think they haven't been taken advantage of by people, to pay to do this stuff for them. But one of the big things is, before you get into government work, be business ready.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we're definitely business ready. We've been in business for 9 years. We've got, a few $1 million a year in revenue, and we've done a business with a lot of different types of business. We've done some government work just for local government stuff, like small municipality stuff, but it's still official kind of stuff, that deals we had to win. But you got to be business ready. Like you got to have, obviously you got to be incorporated, right? You got to have
Yep.
a business registration ID. You got to have a relationship with a bank. So you either got to be making some money or have a way to be able to get liquid cash quick to be able to use if you get a big contract. Like we bring in a lot of money every month, but we spend a lot of money every month to run our business, right? We're a people heavy business. So, right now, one of the things that we're working on is, we've done business with two different banks over the years, bigger banks, like national banks, both of them BMO Bank and US Bank are banks we've banked with. But so we're looking at doing business with a couple more local banks, because with the big banks, they want a lot more out of you and a lot more established, and you're not really on their radar as a small business. But a more local bank will be more apt to work with you. So recent meetings been with SBA, Small Business Administration. So they're the ones you want to talk to if you want to get access to loans. And you're going to want to get access to loans if you do government work. I didn't realize this at first. I kind of thought, hey, I win a deal. If I got to hire 50 people to do that work, they're going to pay me money up front to get trained and get ready. That's going to be part of, nope. Get ready to wait 30 or 60 days before your first check or something, after it works. So you got to start doing the work. You got to be able to either hire, train, or have your staff start doing the work and pay them to do the work for an amount of time before you see any money. And to do that, you either have to have a lot of working capital in the bank or access to working capital loans. And so the SBS, what the SBA does, they don't give you the money, but they work with the banks to guarantee the money for the banks to some degree. Because the biggest thing when you work, I don't know, have you had to work with any banks or anything as you've started to build your business, Matt?
Not too many. I mean, just the one that does our business, but that's the same bank I've been with my whole life. So I've
Right.
never really had to do anything that was like uncommon to me, I guess you could say.
Right. So let's say, I mean, your business could absolutely get, I mean, the government buys everything. That's another thing I would tell people too that watch this, or if we clip this up, team, is what I've learned is the government buys everything. If you can think about it, the government probably buys it for something. Whether it's educational training, donuts, bathroom services, landscaping services, maintenance services. If you can think of something that's sold in the marketplace today, the government is buying some of it somehow. It's just a matter of who's selling it to them, right? So if we took your business, Matt, and let's say there was an RFP put out there for a production company to help produce promotional videos for Army, Navy, Marines, or Department of Transportation's got a new thing. Hey, we want to let the public know that, if they see deer on the road, they can call us and we'll get it picked up. That help us make that commercial shot, right? There's all kinds of stuff you could be doing for government work. It's just, are you set up to do it? Do you know how to find it and qualify for it, right? So let's say that's you and you win a deal, but you find out in winning that deal, that you're going to have to ramp up and either subcontract, or maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you want to keep a majority of that money. So you're going to hire and train you're going to hire a team of 10 people, 20 people to be able to, fulfill the work that you've won, right? But you don't have that much cash. It's going to take a couple weeks. Let's just say it's a 60-day term to get paid for your first part of the service, right? Let's say it's a 2-year deal and you get paid, but you send an invoice at the end of this month and they got 60 days to pay it. So now it's 90 days before you see any of the money of, right?
Right.
Can you pay 20 people for 90 days? No, right?
Right.
So you've been in business for how many years now?
Going on 5 now.
5 years. So I think you got enough business behind you where you could go to a bank, especially a smaller locally regional bank, and be like, hey, this is my business. This is my, these are my books. Take a look at them. I got no debt. I'm profitable, blah, blah, blah. And they're going to say, okay, we can give you access to a $150,000 line of credit to cover, monthly operational expenses. And you're saying you need a $500,000 to cover equipment costs that you're going to have to buy, blah, 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 to do this deal. Because if you don't have all this equipment, whatever, trucks to move it in, whatever, you're not going to be able to do it, right? So the whole thing is you can show them, hey, I won this. It's a 3-year contract to do all these commercials. I'm going to need all these people, all this equipment, but I need access to this money now. You could probably get a loan. What the SBA does is they have SBA loans. The SBA doesn't pay you. The SBA backs the loan from the bank. So if you go belly up, they guarantee the bank's going to get a certain percentage of their money back. So the bank's more likely to do business with small businesses with the SBA behind them. So I didn't realize that. So I'm learning all these things.
Yeah, sounds like it. Very, very good. I didn't know really any of that stuff, and especially only really thing I know about government contracts is the movie War Dogs. That's all I really know about it.
That's a great movie.
It is. Yep, really good movie. Probably one of my up there with the top 10 movie for me, I'd say. Really. And apparently the one guy that was apparently not as bad as the other guy just recently got out of prison. I think it maybe within the last 2 years, and he's been kind of going on a media run.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so. So that could be maybe some interesting information while you're doing your research.
That would be a cool podcast.
It would. It would.
Hey,
I'll look into that. Look into that.
Next show, let's have him for the big show.
I love it. I love it.
But it's interesting. It feels like a rabbit hole still, because the more I get involved, the more I learn. But I kind of, outside of like, it's still super confusing looking at the paperwork and trying to get to a point to figure out, man, should we even go after this? You know?
Exactly.
But there's a couple meetings coming up yet this year that I'm gonna make sure I get to. I'm trying to sit in on these webinars and stuff where they're talking about, how do you communicate with a buyer? If you get a meeting with the buyer, how do you take advantage of it, and how are you get ready? One of the things is make sure you got your capability statement locked in. It's like a little brochure but it's got to say these certain things. If it doesn't, they won't take you seriously. Have your business card right, have your pitch right. You're not talking, I'm not talking to you, Matt, about selling you my IT services. And I know that conversation from doing it for 15 years. It's totally different with a government agency. So, yeah, there is a lot of money to be made. And that's changed a bit with, like the crackdown on stupid contracts, spending money for work not being done, which I'm happy about. At the same time, it's not just la-di-da, put your name out there, win a contract and get paid anymore. You got to really follow through. So,
good stuff.
Yeah, man. What else? Oh, here's another recent development. I sat down with these are all connections I'm making through this government work. So when I was at Fort McCoy, there was, they had a couple different agencies. One of them was DWD, or Department of Workforce Development. So, you lose your job if you don't want to go to Indeed, if you want to go to, these other sites, you register on DWD and try to find a job that way. But they've got different programs that I didn't know about. They've got like internship and apprenticeship programs. So I got connected down the line, a few people after a couple lunch meetings here and there and emails, with a lady named Angela that locally here is a coach and advisor for a youth apprenticeship program that's kind of funded. Her job is, I think, funded by, state government kind of thing. So she works with three local school districts to get teens, like juniors and seniors, 17, 18-year-old teenagers, apprenticeships with different types of work that they want to do. And it's, a lot of it's like electrical or plumbing or your typical journeyman kind of apprenticeship stuff. But this also other things. So they've got a whole profile for like sales and business development and like marketing and video production and media production and stuff like that. And so I sat down with a couple of ladies the other day last week. I said, here's what I want to do. I'd like to do video production and podcasting apprenticeship. I like to do a business development rep apprenticeship and possibly even an IT apprenticeship. And they're like, here's how you do it. Here's blah, blah, blah. Here's what you can expect. You'd work through me. I'll find you the kids and, link you up with them. And then these juniors and seniors, they get more flexible time for school. So if you need them in the morning or the afternoon, you work it out. So I'm going to try to get somebody to help here be, because Declan's starting high school, so I can't have him. And the guys in India, they're working in the morning. So I need somebody here. So I'm going to try to get somebody 2 to 3 hours a day. Train them, that they kind of have some aspirations to do this kind of work. Train them up on how to use the systems, which is pretty easy. But really put them to work on trying to schedule people to either get here in the chair, for the other camera or join via Zoom on the daily shows and stuff. So that's my plan.
Nice.
To,
I love it. Good
to
stuff.
do some content, because I think there's a lot of people, and I tell a lot of people about it, and a lot of people are like, yeah, I'd love to be a part of that. Sounds great. Everybody I'm meeting with is like, oh, that sounds cool. Yeah. And I see what people could offer sitting down and
Yeah.
talking to them. So I don't have time to communicate with them in emails and call them and put them on a schedule and make sure they get here and follow it up with them. You know what I mean? It's
Yep,
a lot of
definitely.
work. Obviously, that. You do that.
Yep, yep.
But imagine doing that on a daily show.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot. It's no easy feat. It's like it's a whole PR team essentially. That's what, big people with PR teams do. So it's pretty intense stuff.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see if I can make
Yep.
it work. Even if we can
Cool.
get people here a couple times a week, that'd be good, I think.
Yep. Definitely.
So yeah, that's all I got. That's all I got.
Cool.
You got
Good to
anything
be
else?
back. Glad to be back. Whoa, had a little hiccup right there. Yeah, glad to be back. Glad we're back here and excited to keep doing this moving forward.
Hey, I haven't looked. How's Baltimore doing right now?
Baltimore's not doing too high. They did win last night. They'd actually had one of the better games they've had in a while. But other than that, I think our playoff dreams this season are done. Our ownerships are making some suspect trades and things of that nature. So I'm
He's
not
giving
too
up on
sure. Have
money.
faith in next year, hopefully. But this year, I'd say our playoff hopes are just about done.
Hey, what's going on with the Brewers? What happened?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I did see they won yesterday though.
Well,
I believe the
they've
Brewers.
they're like they got the best record in the league right now.
Yep. Oh, do they really? I didn't even know that.
They're
That's
like
pretty cool.
on this magical streak, and they'll probably crap the bed or something here at some point,
Yep.
which happens in baseball all the time.
Yep.
But they've just been on this tear where even a game like the other day, they were down 8-2 after a couple innings to Cincinnati, and they came back and they won that game and at the end of the game and with a walk-off home run or something. It was just like they're just playing with. I don't know if they're playing for Euchre because he died this year or something, but they're something else. They're kind of the story of the league right now. I haven't been following too closely. I've been watching more Banana Ball than anything. But
Yep. No, been seeing that. That's pretty cool. They came to Denver. They've been selling out. But no, I got my Brewers hat, so I'll be rooting for them in the
yeah,
playoffs.
good
That'll
luck
be my
there.
team, playoff team.
Yeah, man. Cool.
Cool.
All right, bud. Well, thanks
Alrighty.
for sticking around through the hiccups.
Yeah.
And we'll see you again.
Yep.
And
Yep. We'll
yeah,
see. Yeah. I'll be here tomorrow. Glad to hear we're back and
we're
glad the
back, baby.
AC's working. I'm a sweater, so that just would not have worked for me. So happy for you that you got AC back and
Yeah.
yeah, looking forward to keep talking the good stuff here.
Sounds good. All right, I'll talk to you tomorrow, man.
Awesome. Yep. See you guys.